I actually was fortunate enough to join the Chamber August 1st of 2012. And the Chamber, along with many different leaders in our community, had spent quite a number of months working on bringing in someone at the senior level to be able to oversee the diversity and inclusion efforts. And the position became available because there were many corporate citizens that honestly said, this is so important to our economy, it's so important to the vibrancy of this area, and we want the upstate to be viewed as a destination and not as a pit stop. And as large corporations in this area, that is so important to us that we are willing to cede the capital to fund the position. And not only are we willing to cede that capital, but we're going to be committed to it for 3 years. Diversity and inclusion are completely different, but they certainly work hand in hand together. Diversity is really just the makeup of all different types of people and all of the differences that mix helps to create when they all come together as one unit. The inclusion portion is the action behind it. In order to really make people feel very much a part and accepted, that doesn't happen organically. You have to really work at it. It has to be strategic. It has to be very deliberate. And so I'm a big advocate for making sure that when you talk about diversity, you have to also make sure you're talking about inclusion as well. Diversity and inclusion is important because if you were to look at the makeup right now of our community, we are very representative of a diverse group of individuals. And so if we're not mindful of the need to ensure that all communities are thriving and are successful, then we're only going to be but so successful ourselves as a community. So we have to make sure that we're reaching back. It's also important because if you look at the statistics in terms of the number of individuals here that are part of underrepresented populations and that are presently known as minorities, that's quickly changing, particularly when you think about the Hispanic community. Greenville is known as a fast growth rate in terms of geographic area for Hispanics. And so we're going to quickly see that years from now, what we presently know to be minorities, they're going to become the majority. And if we're not ahead of that, then we really are missing a key opportunity to be the best we can be. One particular initiative right now is the Diversity Leadership Pipeline. It became very apparent to me when I started my role here that there was a great opportunity for the Chamber to serve as a key resource to nonprofit organizations as well as to corporations when they were looking to fill volunteer board positions or even corporate board positions. And the reason that's important is because oftentimes people tend to navigate to individuals that look like them. And right now, this is not something that's unique to Greenville or the upstate, but just generally speaking, there is a lack of minority professionals and women on corporate boards. And when you think about the consumer constituencies that a lot of these corporations will service, as well as the communities that are serviced by many nonprofit organizations, those are diverse individuals. So we need to make sure we have diverse people at the table serving on these boards. And so what we've done with the Diversity Leadership Pipeline, we have encourage women and minorities, international citizens, young professionals to submit information to this pipeline. And we're asking for information like their experience, if they've served on a board before, what their interest levels they have, because when we get the requests from nonprofits or corporations to fill a board seat, we can search that pipeline and be able to give recommendations. We're seeing a great deal of energy around this effort, and in fact we have over 600 people in this pipeline presently with 30 organizations that we're servicing. And these organizations are coming back to us and saying, I never would have met this individual, this very qualified, competent individual to add to my board had it not have been for such an initiative and an effort. Another very important initiative that has recently been launched with the Chamber, which the Chamber has a very important role in, it's called the Diversity Recruitment Consortium. And the founding sponsor or visionary behind this initiative is the Riley Institute at Furman University. They saw a reoccurring theme to where many organizations would communicate that one big challenge they're faced with every single day is from a recruiting standpoint of diverse professionals to their organizations. They typically have great results in getting people to understand that they can see themselves thriving in their respective organizations. But what those individuals are challenged with is, can I see myself thriving in South Carolina? And so a great opportunity existed for many entities to come together to create an opportunity to help really problem solve as it relates to that challenge. And so what we've done is the Rowling Institute has partnered with several different organizations. The primary sponsors would be the South Carolina Chamber of Commerce, who is the coordinating sponsor, and their role is to make sure that across the state, this DRC effort, this Diversity Recruitment Consortium effort, is one that is really far-reaching and one that's available to be leveraged by all organizations throughout the state. And they also have the ability to provide a funding arm, if you will. And then the Greenville Chamber's role is the managing sponsor. So we're helping to facilitate and execute a lot of the work behind the work of the Diversity Recruitment Consortium. It's all about the ARC method, which we refer to as attracting, recruiting, and cultivating. Those are three very important components for really helping diverse professionals to see themselves as individuals that can thrive in the state of South Carolina. You know, I really have found in my time working in this space that oftentimes people have very positive intent. You know, their actions are coming from a place of positive intent. They just aren't really well informed in terms of the significance of diversity and inclusion, why it's even important, which is why we always like to make sure we are communicating the business case for it, and the how-tos. You know, they really want application. I want to be very forward-thinking in my supplier diversity efforts. Teach me how to do that. And I think that's a great opportunity for the Chamber, is to help create those opportunities for people to learn and to get better at this. I think another challenge and roadblock would be you know, just the complacency, you know, people feeling as though we're doing fine right now. Why do we need to now exert some different types of effort, you know, when we are all very busy people to, you know, try to make a difference in the area of diversity and inclusion. And again, that's where we have to make the case for, you know, the business case for why diversity and inclusion is so important. And, you know, it's interesting to me that, particularly when you think about the upstate, you think about Greenville, we make the top 10 list of so many different organizations and magazines that, you know, we have too much going for us to not get this right. And this area of diversity and inclusion is something that is underdeveloped, that we need to give more attention to.